Hi everybody, welcome to Rosie's Dessert Spot. This is going to be a bit of a different video today, and I'll have a string of videos for this series, but I thought I would reconnect with the dessert side of Rosie's Dessert Spot. I'm teaming up with the amazing people over at Polito Ovens. Polito Ovens are based here in Melbourne, Australia. They do have these ovens over in the US as well, so it's available there too, and they create their ovens through locally sourced materials, and they're sustainable wood fire ovens as well. The inside is a refractory dome, so it's really good for heat retention and heat distribution. The particular oven that I have is a Polito Giotto, so this one is beautiful on the outside as well because it's that nice metallic finish, super sleek, timeless, and it's also weatherproof, so you don't have to worry about the stone in the inside getting wet when it starts raining. You don't need to add a cover or anything. It's pretty amazing that way. I also chose this one because it's super portable as well. I'll leave a link in the description box and in our link tree, which is linked in our bio, if you'd like to check them out for any more information and where you can grab yours. If you'd like to skip straight to the recipe, I'll leave a timestamp just here. You can skip to that, or you can stay with me and I'll walk you through the curing stages of this oven. I had my husband help me out, and we started building a teeny tiny little fire right in the center of the dome. So you always want to start off building fires in the middle. We've used kindling. In total, over the 20 hours, we used a full bag of kindling. Once you get a tiny fire burning, keep an eye on that thermometer to make sure that you're not exceeding beyond 70 to 100 degrees, especially at the very, very start. Do try to keep it at that 70-degree mark. So this is degrees Celsius. After about an hour, I'm going to shift this fire over to the side, and we are going to slowly make our way around the whole perimeter of the dome to evenly distribute the heat and evenly dry the dome. When you're ready to turn off the oven, allow the fire to reduce to just a teeny tiny little flame or embers, and then you can apply the door to close off the oven. Allow it to cool down completely and then start up the next day, just repeating these steps until you've clocked that 20 hours worth of curing. From there, you can start building your fire slowly. So you might start at about 200 degrees, allow it to sit there for about half an hour, bring it up to 250, and you're very gradually building on this heat so that you don't shock the refractory material on the inside and cause cracking. However, tiny little hairline cracks are normal during the curing stage, during the first firing up stage. So don't stress too much if you do see teeny tiny little cracks. I can show you what they look like, but they're totally normal. Now that that's all been sorted, we're going to go ahead and jump into our recipe.
We're going to be creating a delicious Biscoff baked cheesecake. So I'm going to pulverize my Biscoff biscuits into like a fine sand, a little something like this, and then add it into a bowl so I can mix in my butter. You'll want to go a little bit at a time. Stir it through, add a little extra butter, stir it through, because you cannot remove the butter once it's in there, but you can add more if you need. So you want this kind of texture, like wet sand. Pop it into your springform pan. I've used my 7-inch one here, and I'm going to really press it nice and firmly to the base. From here, you'll want to bake it off. So I'm going to start preheating my oven for the cake. Now I do like to take out any of those ashes before I start a new fire, just so it's always starting nice and clean. Into the center of my wood fire oven, I'm going to be adding in my kindling with a fire starter right in the middle, kind of nestled in with all that wood. I'll set that alight and then allow it to take off. You'll want to leave it in the center of your oven for at least 10 minutes just to gradually warm it up. Once you've got a nice fire going, you can start shifting it over to one side. That way you get that rolling flame over the top of your dome, and it just helps to even distribute the heat. But before I move it to the other side, I'm going to start baking off that cake base that we created. So while the oven's heating up, we have it about 200 or so degrees Celsius here. I'm going to start popping in my base. So that's just that cookie and butter base. I'm going to let that cook for about 5 minutes, give it a bit of a turn, let it sit in there just for another 2 to 5 minutes. Keep an eye on it. it should be slightly browned and firm, just like so. Now you can take it out of the oven, move the fire over to the other side, give it a feed if you need to. And we are aiming to get this oven up to about 400 degrees Celsius. From there, that heat will really soak into the refractory material, and so that when we add our oven door, it'll cool down, but it will distribute the heat slowly around the oven as it cools down. So I'll always stop to the right side of the oven. You notice that I've been moving the fire around for that even heat distribution. It also helps to add the door right at the front as well, just to really help it to warm up. And then once you have little embers or just a tiny flame, you can pop on the oven door, and that's how it starts to cool down. Now we're starting our actual Biscoff cake mix. So we've got the cream cheese, sugar, the Biscoff vanilla, egg, and I am adding each one of these in slowly. The editing is pretty fast, but I give each ingredient ample time to absorb before I add in the next one. Make sure that you scrape down the sides of the bowl as you go, because a lot of that delicious cheese is going to get stuck along the sides and the bottom. At this point, add in the sour cream and the flour. Let it combine and then fill it into our prepared cookie and butter based tin. Give it a good mix to make sure that it's all settled, and then stick it in your oven once your oven reaches 280 degrees Celsius. Pop on the oven door and allow that temperature to drop naturally. If you're baking this in your regular oven, I'd suggest 180 degrees Celsius for 1 hour. I'm going to give it a bit of a turn after about 20 minutes, keep an eye on it. In total, I left it in there for about an hour. She is down to that 200 degrees mark, and she was looking divine. So from there, I'm going to let it settle a little bit, and then it should look a little something like this. Nice and bouncy, but it will still jiggly in the center. That's just going to continue to set as it cools down. If it does crack, no stress, that's pretty normal and standard for a cheesecake. And then we'll just use a knife to go around the sides, releasing the cake from the cake tin. I don't want to add any baking paper to the sides, otherwise it'll kind of collapse a little more, whereas this allowed it to stick to the sides so it didn't collapse in the side as much. I hope that makes sense. From here, we're going to let it cool completely. Keyword, cool completely. Because then once we add our Biscoff spread, if the cake is warm, all these beautiful textures and lines that we're creating with our spatula will become super flat again, as if it never happened. Exhibit A. It starts to just become flat again, so do let it cool down completely. Don't do as I did. Here I've got some Biscoff cookies that I've crumbled just for decoration, and some pop of color with the raspberry, a little extra texture here with some sifted icing sugar, and your cake is complete. She was so delicious. There is something about baking in a wood fire pizza oven that leaves your desserts so much more moist compared to if you were to have used a conventional oven. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that one. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll leave a link to the Polito ovens in the description box, and we'll catch you again in the next one.